Well, it's decided. The ongoing debate between one of my middle school friends and me about whether Star Wars or Star Trek is better has come to a close. Star Wars has its own lands on both coasts. Checkmate. Hello, this is Brian, and welcome back to Seeking the Magical. Today we'll discuss the grand opening of Star Wars: Galaxy's Edge at Walt Disney World's Hollywood Studios. Heather and I made the trek down to Florida to take part in the opening of the Eastern episode of Galaxy's Edge and see if it lived up to the hype. Today, I'll cover what was great, what didn't work, and our overall takeaway of what Disney rolled out. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this, as well as more of the best tips, tricks, and reviews to help you plan your next Disney Parks vacation. Now, stay tuned to find out whether Disney delivered on the Galaxy's Edge goods or came out looking like bantha fodder. We'll start our discussion with what went right during the August 29th opening of Hollywood Studios' Galaxy's Edge and what makes it an amazing experience. During the early morning opening, Disney admitted people into the Hollywood Studios parking lot at 3:15 a.m. and stepwise through the studio itself. The sequential approach to entering the land worked well, as the intermittent periods of walking helped keep my legs fresh and gave me an outlet for some of my excess adrenaline. The gates into Hollywood Studios opened at 4 a.m., which allowed elated guests to quickly fill the open space between there and the end of Hollywood Boulevard, where everyone waited, bubbling with excitement for 30 minutes. We were then led around Echo Lake, past Star Tours, and up to the entrance of Galaxy's Edge by Muppet Vision 3D. Finally, just before 5 a.m., cast members led us through the tunnel and into Star Wars: Galaxy's Edge. The energy and awe of the crowd walking through the land for the very first time was palpable. As we slowly entered, the entire landscape was lit up to reveal Black Spire Outpost and the rest of Batuu. From the outpost's worn metal and stone structures to the rocky spires and cliffs surrounding the land, everything clearly screams Star Wars. Furthermore, familiar Resistance ships, droids, and aerobush symbols could be seen lining our path, as well as Chewbacca, Rey, and stormtroopers, all of which further enhance the "we have stepped into Star Wars" feeling. Oh, and the full-size Millennium Falcon parked in front of Onaka Transport Solutions. That definitely added to the Star Wars vibe. The designers clearly put a lot of love into building the Millennium Falcon, which occasionally sprung to life by venting steam or ingloriously failing to launch, just like in the movies. Directly beside the ship is the entrance to the attraction, Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, which is where virtually everyone headed to first. The queue for Smugglers Run is a new favorite of mine, as it provides a lot to see and hear, including multiple perspectives of the Millennium Falcon, an entertaining and incredibly fluid animatronic Hondo Onaka, and more. The attraction itself is the best simulator ride I've ever been on. Not only do the movements of the ship feel authentic, it does so in a way that is not exceedingly herky-jerky, providing a smooth experience that lets you get into the story more. Actually, having the riders able to collectively control the fate of the action is a cool concept, which they pull off with variable success. With that being said, to really capitalize on the interactive experience, this ride is about being one of the two pilots who control either the horizontal or vertical movements of the ship, and really requires you to be a team like Han and Chewie. While the horizontal control on the left was crisp, the vertical control on the right pilot was less responsive, making it more challenging to navigate. While less glamorous, being a gunner or engineer is fun too, but riders in these roles are mostly relegated to pushing buttons as the scenario dictates. Smugglers Run also has a single rider line that is shorter than the regular queue. It is important to note though, that if you choose this option, you will most likely be assigned to be an engineer, as is typically the least desirable role. Another factor that may impact on what role you want to experience is the space provided to each role. In terms of legroom, it is like the evolution of man, with the rear engineer seats being the most cramped and the front pilot seats providing plenty of legroom, even for my 6'6" frame. The gunner position wasn't too bad, but I was forced to do some minor contortion to sit comfortably. So if space is a concern of yours, make a point to be the pilot. Overall, you don't need to be a Star Wars fan to enjoy Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run. The ride is an excellent addition to Hollywood Studios, and I see it being a must-do for anyone visiting Walt Disney World. Other highlights from Galaxy's Edge include some of the food and beverage options. For food, head to Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo. While breakfast was decent and provided fresh fruit, we can truly recommend the Braised Shack Roast, roasted Andorian tip-yip salad, or smoked kadu ribs served during lunch and dinner. The salad was surprisingly good and is actually one of the best I've ever had. I would definitely rate this as a must-get. For dessert, we highly recommend the batu ban. This combination of moist chocolate cake, mousse, and coffee-flavored custard isn't overly sweet or dense, and the light coffee flavor from the custard added richness while not being bitter. Though you'll have to make reservations, Oga's Cantina prepared some very good, very smooth alcoholic concoctions. Cantina policy limits guests to 2 drinks, so I decided to try their 2 tequila-based beverages, the Outer Rim and the Dagobah Slug Slinger. While I found the herb component of the Slug Slinger to be a little stronger than I would prefer, I walked away highly impressed with both concoctions and found them to be distinctly superior to any of the other alcoholic beverages served in Galaxy's Edge, and I tried basically all of them outside of Oga's Cantina. The bar and surrounding tables are standing room only, which I thought would be annoying, but actually worked fairly well and made the place feel less cramped. There were a few booths available around the perimeter of the cantina, which is a great option to have after walking for hours in the parks. There were many things to observe at Oga's Cantina, from colorful bubbling liquids and flamboyant beverages at the bar, to aptly Star Wars themed music being spun by DJ R3X. I will certainly be going back to Oga's the next time I drift into town. The droid and lightsaber building experiences were both fun and worth your consideration. At Droid Depot, the Build a Droid experience is a straightforward process where you pick your parts off a conveyor belt, taking whatever time you need to decide on your droid's shape and color, and then transferring them to an assigned building station. A power drill is conveniently provided to assist in assembling the droid, and a cast member is available if needed. I, of course, attached my droid's legs backwards the first time I attempted the assembly. Fortunately, by simply putting the drill in reverse and unscrewing the legs, I was able to fix my mistake with no one the wiser. Oh, wait. I can't stress enough how much I liked being able to take my time designing my droid. Going in, all I knew is that I wanted to start from an R2 unit. I probably took 5+ minutes to pick my parts, and then another 10 or so to assemble the droid and add the details. I activated the droid when I was ready and never felt pressured by a cast member. By the way, I would like you to meet my new friend, R2. R0. The lightsaber building experience at Savis Workshop proceeds as if you were part of a story, which I found to be a really cool concept, and they pulled it off quite well. The lead cast member did a great job describing the purpose of the workshop, the role of the gatherers, and the importance of lightsabers to Force users. Though a little tight around the edges, the room setup was mostly comfortable, and the design added to the ambiance. The coolest part of the whole process was definitely the ending, when everyone's lightsabers were revealed. The lightsaber itself is constructed of metal, giving it a heavy, durable feel. The plastic blade also has some strength to it, while concurrently being able to transmit sufficient light to give it a distinct glow. Possibly more than any other land that Disney has created, the theming of Galaxy's Edge is out of this world amazing. From the buildings and mountains surrounding you, to characters moving amongst you, they did an uncanny job delivering on the immersion experience. The apex of immersion for me was when I was stopped by stormtroopers who questioned me for possessing 2 lightsaber sheaths. They said they hoped that I was just a collector, carrying them while insinuating a possible Jedi affiliation. Admittingly, my attempt at a Jedi mind trick as a response was a bad idea from the start, failing miserably. The resulting ridicule at the hands of the First Order was merited, and I moved along in shame. I loved it. While many things about Galaxy's Edge and its opening were great, there were a number of things that did not go so well. When Galaxy's Edge opened in Disneyland, there were clear directions of where and when people could line up days in advance of the land's opening, and the boarding pass system, a virtual queue to enter Galaxy's Edge, was announced well in advance. How you got into Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland was clear. This was not the case with the opening of Galaxy's Edge in Walt Disney World, and how they rolled out the details of the opening day information and the reservation system for the various activities ranged from poor to terrible. The implementation of the reservation system was the single worst offense, as it was launched with no warning of if and when it would go live, no announcement for how it would work, and almost no availability to get them for weeks after Galaxy's Edge's opening, after only a couple hours, as word spread quickly through select channels and people frantically booked whatever they could get. Meaning, all those plans you made months ago, flights, hotels, fast passes, dinner reservations, were now thrown up in the air only a couple weeks before the grand opening, and you're left scrambling to figure out what you can do. Seriously, Disney, you had so many ways of doing this better. The lack of information also meant we needed to enter Hollywood Studios the day prior to the opening of Galaxy's Edge to learn what we could about when the Hollywood Studios parking lot would open, and we could line up to enter. Officially, the park was scheduled to open at 6 a.m., but recent history with Toy Story Land told us that people would be admitted before then. We asked parking attendants, security guards, stand workers, and other cast members when the parking lot would open. We received a wide range of answers: 4 a.m., 2:30, and some even said to not be surprised if the parking lot opened earlier. We resolved ourselves, at the cost of sleep, to return to the park at 11 p.m., searching for any signs of when we could actually enter. However, the entrance had been coned off, and the cast members waiting there said it wouldn't open until 4 a.m. Not fully trusting their comments, we did a few loops on the surrounding roads with a small group of cars, all of us waiting to enter Galaxy's Edge. After midnight, we decided to go back to our room to get a bit more rest. When we returned at 2:30 a.m., we found the looping group of vehicles had ballooned into a congested caravan of cars and vans, all anxiously waiting to enter Hollywood Studios. At 3 a.m., the cones blocking the road were removed, and we were able to enter one of the lanes closest to the entrance, only to wait again. After 15 more minutes, the lanes began to move, but unfortunately we picked the slowest line. When I say slow, I mean there must have been something wrong at the station ahead of us, because we are certain that at least 8 cars passed us just from the lane immediately to our left. We eventually got through though, and reached the still locked gates of Hollywood Studios. The 30-minute wait there wasn't that bad. However, bad luck struck again as the line we were waiting in this time had numerous problems scanning people's magic bands, and again was super slow. However, by that point it was clear that we were going to get into Galaxy's Edge. Once in Galaxy's Edge, the whole land filled up quickly, and all morning it felt congested. There were long lines everywhere for almost everything, with the surprising exception of Docking Bay 7. I will say that while Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities is a neat place to look around and animatronic Doc Ondar is quite impressive to watch, I don't think it makes sense to wait in a line almost an hour just to get in there, or 30 minutes to get a hot dog at Ronto Roasters. The silliness did clear up by late afternoon though, and wait times for these became a much more pedestrian 5 to 15 minutes. One area where crowding did not let up was inside Droid Depot. It was packed, and at times challenging to get anywhere inside the shop. The paths were narrow, and didn't adequately accommodate the extra people waiting for the building group to finish. For clarity, they only allow one guest at the building station with the droid builder. Hopefully they do something to address the congestion as they move forward. During the build portion of the lightsaber building experience, one can feel a bit rushed due to the intensity at which the assistants work with you, though they were respectful and very helpful. It is really important to have a good idea of what you want to build before arriving for your appointment. My primary complaint with the lightsaber experience is the sheath that comes with the lightsaber to protect it. The sheath's material of construction is poor, and the strap of mine actually broke less than 4 hours after leaving the workshop. They replaced the sheath, no questions asked, but due to the poor quality, I still had to purchase the more durable one sold at Doc Ondar's to protect my lightsaber on the plane after leaving Walt Disney World. While the food in Galaxy's Edge was in general pretty good, there were a few items I'd recommend avoiding. At Docking Bay 7, the fried chicken used in the fried Endorian tip-yip was good, but the rest of the meal was lackluster, and the sauce just tasted weird. Furthermore, the oi oi puff was rough. The raspberry flavor tasted heavily processed, and the puff's texture was kind of mealy. I didn't want to finish that one. Also, neither Heather nor I cared for the outpost mix at Cat Saka's Kettle. The kettle corn was a weird blend of sweet and mild spices that clashed with each other. It's not, what did I put in my mouth, bad, but after a couple bites, we were done. Overall, while the land itself is amazing, we give the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge pretty good but not great marks, with information rollout being the primary thing holding it back. While I don't dock them too much for the morning crowds, it's the grand opening of Galaxy's Edge. I do hit them some for not having adequate room to move in parts of Droid Depot. With only one attraction running when the land's gates opened to the public, the land did feel a bit incomplete. With that being said, Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run is really fun, and the interactive droid and lightsaber building experiences are excellent in their own right and help to minimize the hole left by the still-to-open attraction Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. The food and drinks in the land were mostly good, and we were able to do most of what we wanted to over 2 days in the land. It cannot be said enough, Galaxy's Edge's theming was fantastic. Short of the Resistance and First Order centric stores, almost anywhere you walked could easily be dropped into a Star Wars film and not feel too out of place. Interaction with familiar characters such as Rey, Chewbacca, and Kylo Ren adds to the atmosphere. Oh, and stormtroopers. Lots and lots of stormtroopers. You probably can't go 15 minutes without seeing one standing guard on top of a building or patrolling the streets of Black Spire Outpost. While there were multiple other things to experience in the land, such as shopping at Creature Stall and Toydarian Toymaker, or picking something up at Milk Stand, these didn't stand out to me one way or the other. They are certainly worth visiting, but I don't see them as a driver. Well, okay, I will say swinging by Creature Stall to see the sleeping animatronic Lothcat is worth a stop. All in all, I am really glad we made it to the grand opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and for all the time we spent on Batuu, especially with concerns of Orlando potentially getting hit by Hurricane Dorian. With everything Galaxy's Edge has to offer, the new land is pushing to become my favorite part of Hollywood Studios. We'll see what happens when they open Rise of the Resistance. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Furthermore, if you have any questions about Galaxy's Edge, the grand opening, or anything to do with Disney parks, please leave them in the comments below and we'll be sure to respond. So until next time, be sure to hug your loved ones, cherish the memories, and always continue seeking the magical.